I am so proud of you once again, my child, because what you have done recently has made me pleased once again. Child, you are about to understand why I am saying this and what will happen next. So listen carefully. I see every small choice you make. I see the moments when you choose kindness over comfort, when you speak truth though it is easier to stay silent, when you stay with someone who needs you even when your own heart feels tired. These are not small to me. Each act of courage, each breath you give to hope, each time you choose to begin again, I notice. You may think your efforts are unnoticed or that your love falls into a quiet, empty space. That is not so. I hold those acts close. They are like seeds placed into good soil. They will grow in ways you cannot yet imagine. Do not measure your worth by loud applause or by how quickly your plans come true. Value is not in speed or in sparkle. Your worth is constant and timeless. It does not depend on what you have done recently, nor on what you will do tomorrow. It rests in who you truly are. Let that truth settle into you. When doubt comes, return to this place of quiet knowing. You are held, you are cared for, you are enough. There are seasons in your life. Some are bright and full of laughter. Some are slow and full of learning. In a season of growth, you may not see the roots forming. In a season of waiting, you may not see the blossom. Trust the rhythm I have placed within life. Everything has a time. There is a time to act and a time to be still. There is a time to speak and a time to listen. Learn to sense which time you are in. You will miss the gifts of a season if you force the pace meant for another. When you feel lost, remember the small compass I placed inside you, your conscience, your simple sense of right, the quiet voice that asks you to be gentle. That voice is a guide. Too often you listen to the loudest voices around you, the quick promises, the harsh judgments, the fear that pushes you to protect yourself by shrinking someone else. Stay close to the quiet guide. It will never steer you wrong. It asks you to choose what heals, to give when you can, and to seek truth even when it costs you something. Forgiveness is a doorway I want you to walk through. Not because the past is not real, not because wrongs do not matter, but because forgiveness sets you free. Forgiveness does not mean you ignore harm or pretend pain did not happen. It means you refuse to let bitter roots grow in the place where your heart needs to be free. Forgive others when you can and forgive yourself. There are places inside you that feel unworthy, places where shame keeps you small. Bring my light there. Let the warm, steady truth that you are loved heal those places. When you forgive, you open space for new life to enter. Humility is not weakness. Humility is the foundation of true strength. When you admit you do not know, when you allow others to teach you, when you accept help, you grow. Pride keeps you from learning. Humility invites connection. It allows you to touch the hands of those you meet and to be touched in return. Be humble enough to say, "I was wrong," and brave enough to change course. There is great power in simple honesty. Be careful how you speak to yourself. Words are not only sounds, they shape the world inside you. If your inner voice is harsh, your whole life will bend toward fear. If your inner voice is kind, you will find more reasons to keep going. Practice speaking to yourself as I speak to you now, with patience, with hope, with clarity. When mistakes happen, say, "I tried, I learned, I will try again." This is not empty comfort. It is the language of healing. Love with courage. Love sometimes means staying when you want to leave. And it sometimes means leaving when staying would hurt the soul. Love means truth spoken softly and fiercely. Love gives space to grow, not chains to control. Love is a daily choice. You will be tempted to love only what is easy, only what returns your love in exact measure. Choose the wider way. Love people even when they are difficult. Offer compassion to those who do not ask for it yet. Be clear with your boundaries. Loving fiercely does not mean tolerating harm. Sometimes love includes saying no so that you and others can be safe and whole. Do not fear your feelings. Emotions are not enemies, they are messengers. When you are angry, ask what needs protection. When you are sad, ask what needs mending. When you are joyful, receive it with gratitude and let it fill your bones. Allow your feelings to pass through you without building a home in them. Learn from them, but do not let them decide everything. Balance feeling with thinking and with faith in the path that has brought you this far. You will face crosses in your life, burdens that feel heavier than you can bear. I will not always remove the burden for you, but I will walk beside you and give you strength to carry it. In the darkest nights, when hope seems like a thin candle, remember I am closer than your breath. When you think you cannot go on, take one step, take the next. There is a rhythm to endurance, present, patient, persistent, and there is a reward in not giving up. Sometimes deliverance comes in the form of a changed heart, not a changed circumstance. That is still a miracle. Work with integrity. Honesty in small things becomes honesty in greater things. Do not justify shortcuts that empty your spirit. When you do honest work, your hands build more than a task. They build character. Help those who work beside you. Share the reward when it is fair. Make space for those who are learning. Your life is a pattern that others read. Show them what it looks like to live with honor. Practice gratitude every day. Gratitude is not only for big things, it is for small ones too. The warmth of a meal, the sound of someone laughing, the quiet of the early morning. Gratitude shifts how you see the world. When you practice it, you begin to notice the steady goodness that sits like a low hum beneath everything. Keep a list if you like. Speak thanksgiving aloud. It will steady your heart in times of storm. Be brave enough to speak truth, even if it makes you unpopular. Speak truth with respect, without seeking to wound. Let your words be bridges, not weapons. Choose silence when speaking will only inflame. The wise will know when to open their mouth and when to keep it closed. A gentle, clear word can change the course of a life. Choose community. You are not meant to live alone. Find people who will love you when you are foolish, who will correct you when you err, who will celebrate when you succeed, and who will mourn when you lose. Give back to your community what it gives you: presence, time, honest listening. Do not pour out what you cannot refill. Keep your cup tended. Rest when you need to. Rest is not laziness, it is stewardship. Your body and soul need rest to produce fruit. Take care of the earth I have given you. The world is not merely a resource to be used, it is a home to be cherished. Plant trees when you can. Keep the water clean. Teach your children to love the animals in the fields. When you care for a small piece of the world, you participate in a wide and ancient act of mercy. The health of the earth is tied to the health of your soul. Listen to those who are different from you. They will stretch your mind and enlarge your heart. When you assume you already know, you close the door to learning. Ask questions. Be curious without judgment. You will find common ground if you seek it honestly. This world is vast, and every person carries a truth you do not yet see. Learn from elders. Teach the young. Together you will weave a life richer than any one of you could make alone. Be mindful of where you place your hope. If you set your hope only on wealth, approval, or the comforts of this life, you will find it fragile. Set your hope on lasting things: kindness, justice, relationships, work that helps others. These are the things that time cannot steal. Hope anchored in goodwill and steady action will carry you when storms come. When fear visits, do not let it rule. Fear is a natural guard, but it can be exaggerated by stories you tell yourself. Name the fear. Speak to it. Ask, is this fear guarding something real, or is it keeping me from living? Use wisdom to take reasonable steps forward. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in spite of fear. Stand with those who are afraid. Offer them a steady hand. Sometimes your courage will be the light that guides another. Be generous. Generosity transforms both giver and receiver. It does not only mean money. Your generosity can be time, attention, mercy, and forgiveness. Give without needing a return. When you give, notice how your heart expands. This is not a trick. It is a truth. The more you open, the more you can hold. Let go of the need to control everyone or everything. Control is often a mask for fear. Release what you cannot change. Invest your energy in what you can influence, your words, your actions, your choices. There is freedom in surrendering the things outside your hands. Surrender does not mean giving up. It means redirecting your strength to what matters. Learn to celebrate small victories. You will arrive at great things by many tiny steps. Each morning that you choose hope instead of despair, each conversation where you practice patience, each moment you refuse to be small, these are victories. Count them. Celebrate them. They are the quiet scaffolding of a life well lived. Teach forgiveness by example. When leaders forgive, communities heal. When families forgive, children learn trust. When friends forgive, relationships deepen. You will not always be forgiven in return, and that is hard. But forgiveness plants healing seeds whether or not they sprout immediately. Keep planting. Be honest about your mistakes. Shame hides and weakens. Confession brings light and release. When you admit error, you invite correction and healing. It is brave to stand in the truth of your own life and to ask for help to do better. When you do this, you open the door for reconciliation and for new beginnings. Keep learning. The world is large and infinite. Read books. Talk to wise people. Try new things. Your brain and heart were made to grow. Curiosity keeps you alive. Stay humble enough to know you do not yet know everything, and wise enough to seek what matters. Hold fast to justice. The world needs people who will stand for those who cannot stand for themselves. Speak up when you see unfairness. Use your influence, however small, to protect the vulnerable. Justice done with mercy is the work of my heart. Do not confuse fairness with vengeance. Seek righting, not revenge. Healing is the aim. When disappointment comes, do not build a prison of it. Disappointment is a teacher that asks you to look at expectations, to reframe, to try again with new wisdom. Allow your disappointments to shape you into someone gentler, more patient, and more understanding. Do not let them harden you. Pray not as a habit, but as a conversation. Prayer is a place for honesty, for asking, for thanking, and for listening. You do not need fine words. Speak simply. Tell me what is in your heart. Sit in silence and listen. Sometimes you will hear wisdom. Sometimes you will feel peace. Prayer is a thread that ties you to what matters most. Remember those who came before you. Honor their stories. Learn from their struggles and their victories. Their lives are part of your story. When you remember with gratitude, you build roots under your feet. Roots hold you steady when wind and weather come. Be a peacemaker. Conflict is a part of life, but so is reconciliation. Seek the paths that lead to harmony. Teach others how to disagree without dehumanizing. When you make peace, do not pretend pain did not happen. A true peace names the pain and then works through it toward healing. That is the kind of peace I call you to bring into the world. My child, come close and listen with the quiet part of you that still remembers what is true. I speak not to frighten you or to make you carry burdens that are not yours to bear alone. I speak to open a window in your heart so light may enter. The question of purpose is one you have asked in many ways, through longing, through restlessness, through the ache that sometimes wakes you in the night. I know the ache. I placed it there as a wayfinder. It is not a punishment. It is a gentle tug toward what matters. Purpose is not one great thing you must find and clutch like a prize. Purpose is the pattern that grows when love and truth meet your everyday life. It is woven through small hands and ordinary tasks as surely as it is present in great courage and daring work. Think of purpose as a river that will carry you when you step into its current. You do not have to force the river. You only need to learn how to float with attention, to steer when you must, and to enjoy the water as it passes. Often you believe purpose must look like fame, power, or perfect accomplishment. These are not the measure I use. I measure the quiet faithfulness of your choices, the way you greet the people I place before you, the courage to act in favor of life. You were made to love and to be loved. That is the root of everything. When you live from that root, your life becomes a gift to others and a blessing to yourself. Love structured rightly does not mean losing yourself. It means expanding your heart so that you can hold others without shrinking your own needs into oblivion. Love asks you to balance giving and receiving, service and rest. Too often you think making others happy requires self-erasure. It does not. True giving keeps you intact. It strengthens both giver and receiver. When you give from a place of overflow, from gratitude, from healing, from real abundance, your gift heals. When you give because you expect applause or to cover your own emptiness, the gift carries a weight that will not free either heart. There is a simple truth. Your life is not a line drawn only for you. It is a web, and every strand touches another. The joy you offer, the patience you show, the courage to speak truth gently, these things ripple beyond what you see. A small kind word may alter the course of a day. A patient gesture may restore a battered heart. You will never fully know how your life touches others. Trust this mystery. Work to make people happy not as a performance but as a practice. Happiness is not a commodity you give and then expect returned. It is a climate you help create. Be the one who cools the heat of anger, who shelters the one in storm, who remembers birthdays, who listens when listening is scarce. Seek ways to make others happy that are rooted in dignity. Help does not mean condescension. Serving with respect is a holy thing. Notice people. Learn the small things about them, how they like their tea, what word makes them laugh, the ache they try to hide. These small attentions are love's secret language. When you show interest without judgment, when you celebrate another's successes without envy, you lay tracks for deeper connection. Be generous with praise when it is deserved. Be honest when love demands correction, and do it with tenderness. I made you with gifts and weaknesses both. Your gifts are not for hoarding. They are for multiplying. Use what you have to help others rise. If you are gifted in listening, offer your ear. If you are skilled with hands, build and mend. If you can teach, teach. If you can write, write with truth. When you use your gifts to help others, you are serving the highest purpose. Do not compare your gift to another's. A single clear voice can change a nation just as a single steady hand can save a life. There is no small service in my economy. A clean bowl offered to a tired friend is as sacred as a poem that opens a mind. At the same time, beware the temptation of selfish motives. Selfishness hides in many robes, in the desire for recognition, in the need to control, in the pursuit of comfort at the expense of another's heart. Selfishness is often dressed as practicality. It tells you the world will not turn unless you grab more, defend more, secure more. But greed narrows the heart and isolates the soul. It takes the common good and pulls it into a private storehouse that will never be full. Learn to notice the quiet voice that says, "I must have more to be safe." Ask it where safety really comes from. Often safety comes from trust and relationship, not from hoarded goods. Practice generosity as a counterweight. Share what you can. Give of time, of resources, of attention. The act of giving reshapes desire. It trains you to delight in another's well-being. This is not a call to martyrdom. Do not give until you are empty. You are not made to be a drained vessel. To love well, you must know yourself and hold boundaries. Boundaries protect the life you need to continue giving. If you are exhausted, your giving will be brittle and resentful. Rest is sacred. Taking care of your health, your mind, your spirit is not selfish. It is responsible. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Learn to say no gently and firmly when a request will cost the balance that keeps you whole. Saying no is not refusing love. It is sometimes the truest act of love for yourself and others. Let your work be a form of worship. Whatever your task, tending fields, shaping code, teaching small children, counting numbers, making music. Let your hands remember dignity. Do your work with care as if you were placing an offering. Do it with honesty. Do it with attention to the people who will be touched by the results. The world is made up of ordinary things. Clean water, safe roads, food on the table, warm homes, words that comfort. Seek to make these ordinary things better. When you improve the ordinary, you change lives. Do not sneer at smallness. Small things, done well, become the scaffolding of societies that care for one another. Teach your children and those who come after you how to serve. Model it. Children learn more from what you do than from what you say. Let them see you give to neighbors, visit the lonely, forgive easily, and ask for help when you need it. Teach them the dignity of work and the joy of giving. Show them how to save and how to spend with wisdom. Teach them to make space for others at the table. These are the lessons that multiply through generations. I do not ask you to make everyone happy at any cost. There will be times when pleasing someone will require you to compromise what is true or right. Do not trade integrity for immediate approval. A life that seeks approval above truth will dissolve into a pattern of pleasing others at the expense of self. When you must choose between false peace and honest resistance, choose honest resistance that aims at repair. Speak kindly, yet firmly, when injustice appears. Protect the vulnerable even if it brings you trouble. Your actions may not be popular, but they will be just. Remember always that justice and mercy walk together. Do not forget the weak while you seek the broad good. Forgiveness is part of making others happy and also part of freedom. You cannot make someone truly happy if you carry a secret store of resentment. Forgiveness is a release more than a permission. It frees you to love again without the weight of old hurts. It is not forgetting. It is choosing not to live inside the injury any longer. Learn to forgive with clear eyes. Sometimes reconciliation will follow forgiveness. Sometimes it will not. Forgiving another does not mean you must let them harm you again. Forgiveness and wisdom can coexist. Hold both. Forgive, and also create boundaries that keep everyone safe. Be honest about your motives. Look into your heart often and ask why you do what you do. If your service is driven by guilt, shame, or the desire for reputation, it will not endure. If it is driven by compassion, gratitude, and a clear sense of responsibility, it will. Confession and reflection are tools I give you to keep your motives clean. Return to them when you drift. I walk with you in every step. I celebrate when you give. I heal when you fall. I sharpen you when you grow dull. I call you not to vanish into pleasing others, but to become a person whose presence heals, whose work blesses, and whose life reflects the love that created you. Go now and live in the rhythm of giving and receiving. Let your days be a chorus of kindness, your hands instruments of mercy, and your heart a home where others find rest. You are beloved. Use your life to make other lives a little brighter. That, child, is the purpose I set before you. Amen.